Welcome back to Total Football. Before the break, we interrupted Ruben Amorim to hear live from the new Celtic manager, Wilfried Nancy. Manchester United taking on Wolves in the Monday Night Football. Let's get back to the United boss now.
Do you think that could be the opportunity for Kobbie?
I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's the same question. I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen. It depends. I see in the training. I see is the best thing for the team. I will put it. That is the only way I know how to respond to that.
Obviously, Wolves provided some low moments for you at Mainoo last season. That felt like one of the darker moments. How important is it not to take the fact that they've not won a game this season for granted because you just played 18th?
Everything can happen, and that will change. There is no team in the Premier League history that didn't won one game, so it can be any game. So we need to try to improve, to rest the players, work really well, and prepare a tough match, because with us it's always a tough match.
Do you understand why we ask about Kobbie? Because he's homegrown.
Yes, of course. Of course, I understand, and my job is to answer. But I'm trying to answer always the same thing, and you ask me always the same thing. I understand what you are saying. You love Kobbie. He starts for England, but that doesn't mean that I need to put Kobbie when I feel that I shouldn't put Kobbie. So it's my decision.
For all you say about the academy, that you don't actually trust the academy.
Why?
Because you never pick any players.
Any players we have Kobbie, Mainoo.
Well, Lacey.
But Lacey in difficult situations. And Lacey sometimes when Brian is not there, I put Ahmad because I have other wing backs to play, and sometimes it's hard. So you are asking me why I don't put Lacey to play when I have other guys that are international and also they are in the bench. So I try to put the best guys, the prepared guys for this moment of the club, and try to win a game. That's the only thing, guys.
Ruben, when the team has the opportunity this season to step on and push up the league, to move into the top 4, top 5 areas, there seems to always be a setback like tonight. Do you think there's an issue with their belief, the coping with the pressure of the moment?
I don't know. I think it's a clear fact, but I think it's not a mental thing. I think they are not thinking we are going to top 5. No. I think it's some moments we play good, sometimes we play bad, and we are not getting the results.
Do you think Diogo and Matthias will be okay for the next game?
Who?
Diogo Dalot and Matthias de Ligt, will they be okay for Wolves?
I think so. We'll see.
Ruben, you used to say the word anxious when you described Patrick Dorgan last week. Diogo Dalot used the same word after today. How do you go about solving the team maybe feeling anxious when they have a 1-0 lead?
I said that Diogo is anxious today.
No, last week you said Patrick Dorgan on the ball, so it's obviously similar. Diogo used the word the team felt anxious when they were 1-0 up today. How do you help the team get through that feeling?
I didn't feel the team anxious. I feel the environment a little bit anxious because it's normal, because we prove in the past and people understand that nothing is certain here, but we didn't draw because of that. We draw because in 1 second ball we have advantage, we let a corner, and the corner anything can happen.
Mr. Amorim, last season you made mention of the squad's physicality, it's different in Europe compared to the Premier League. Today you've mentioned a lot about second balls. Do you think the team has that necessary, the characteristics you talked about?
No, we can win second ball. We were winning second balls, and after the goal we lost a little bit the second ball, especially with Mateus. It's moments of the game, and that's why I try to put Mainoo and Mason Mount. They are aggressive, trying to win the second ball, and that can happen in moments of the game, not all the time.
So is that to be clear, do you believe that's a fatigue problem or concentration?
No, it's not. I don't know. It's more tactical than physical. It's to be prepared for fighting for the second ball. Maybe because we score a goal, we are a little bit more relaxed. I have the feeling that we had the game under control because the opponent is not even near our box. I don't know. I have to check.
Please forgive me for this question.
No, of course.
Just press conference, you said, I don't know, multiple times. But also, you do know the things that you want to do to improve them and fix them.
I said don't know today many times.
Across this press conference, you said I don't know in response to
This one more.
Just today.
Yeah, but when?
Yes.
When?
And I'm essentially asking you
But when I say don't know, which question?
Let's move on.
Yep.
Rob,
Just on AFCON, you know now when you're going to have players available and
No, we are dealing with everything. They are going to play the next game, and that is the only thing I care.
last question for Pete.
Hi Ruben. Didn't score against Everton here. A right back scoring tonight. Do you front three struggled again tonight? Do you feel that you have enough firepower to see your project through, or is that something you might consider looking at in the January?
No, we need to wait until January. We need to see what we are able to do. So I don't know. I really don't care about that in this moment. I just want to prepare the game with the players that we have, and we have to be better in the next game.
Good evening, everybody. We are at Old Trafford for a midweek edition of the Gary Neville podcast. You can't get enough of it. Here's a bonus go off the back of a really good round of midweek games, the last of which was here, Gary. Manchester United have drawn with West Ham. You, with your own eyes, have seen a little bit of action towards the bottom of the league. You saw Leeds put on a great display last night. You saw West Ham come away with a point here. What's your sort of interpretation of what you see just either side of the relegation line?
Yeah, I had Leeds, Burnley and Wolves to go down, and I'd looking pretty comfortable with that. I'm not going to change my mind, but I have to say, watching Leeds last night, that they showed me something different, a lot more physical. I think that the spine of the team, the three centre-backs, I think Ampadu sat in front of them, and then the two centre-forwards, Calvert-Lewin and Mecha, and then obviously the lads that came on, I thought that they could pick up points. They could win games. They could cause teams some real disruption and sort of physically sort of hurt them. I thought the wing-backs were outstanding. Real energy. The way in which they went about the business, and we've seen tonight, I think it's hard to find good wing backs, players who play that sort of position naturally. So yeah, I think last night was a good night for Leeds. Really good night. They were dominant. They really did physically outmuscle Chelsea. I thought that obviously they were nearly there on Saturday, weren't they, against Manchester City? And you think about that, then maybe that's given them a little bit of confidence that let's just go for Chelsea. And they went for them in that first 10 minutes. I always think when you go to Ellen Road, you shouldn't expect anything else than a right good battering in that first 15, 20 minutes. If you get through it, you might be okay, but quite often, you know, you go to Ellen Road, you expect it to be hostile, you expect the crowd to be on top of you, the ball's played forward, balls into the box, a relentless sort of aggression and sort of tackling, and that's what I saw last night from Leeds United. It's definitely a blueprint that's not just a blueprint for last night, it should be a blueprint for the club full stop, and how they should perform week in, week out. And I thought they had the players on the pitch to do so. I'd watched them earlier on in the season when they had, I think, Nonto and James in wide areas and Peru, I think, up front. I thought they're just a little bit lightweight. They're talented players, those guys, those lads, don't get me wrong. They've got a lot about them. I like Nonto particularly. James is a threat on the counter-attack. But you're getting into winter, you're in the Premier League. This league's become more and more physical over this last 2 or 3 years. It's gone back 15, 20 years in respect of the size of the players, the set pieces, the balls into the box, the long balls forward, the throw-ins. Everything's now demanding aerial duels to be won, and physicality and aggression. And I think that last night Chelsea, we'll come on to obviously what them shortly, but they played a team of men, and Chelsea will look like little boys out there against them. So I think that is something that they've got to build off. It's the first time that the coach has gone with a different system. Leeds fans have been asking for a plan B. They got plan B. Plan B sometimes doesn't come off. That does look like it's going to work off the first outing. So yeah, really good from Leeds. I thought Leeds last night were a lot more intense and better than West Ham tonight. But that's purely as well because West Ham are away from home tonight. They're playing a little bit more positional in the sense of sort of playing more counter-attack, playing a little bit behind the ball. Manchester United at home. But they hung in there. I don't think Manchester United were very good. Didn't cause them a lot of problems. But I think that Nuno will be really happy. He'll be particularly happy that he makes a substitution. And Bowen's on corners. Bowen goes into the middle. basically as one of the players attacking it. Irving comes out, his substitute to take it, and there's an immediate impact. Obviously the ball comes back out to Magassa and they score. But yeah, look, there's a long way to go. Leeds or West Ham, based on what I've seen there. I think that Leeds 11 last night that started that game, if it can stay fit, there's a couple of big buts there for Leeds. If it can stay fit with those two up top, I think they could be okay. But there's a long way to go. I think they're slightly just edged for what I saw from West Ham.
Yeah, just jumping about a bit here because it feels pertinent. Obviously, Leeds-Chelsea is one of the great historic fixtures, and so is Leeds-Liverpool. And I wonder whether that is a great game for Leeds to maintain their momentum, given the state of Liverpool at the moment.
Yeah, someone's having a laugh at me at Sky, aren't they? You get your programme through, you get Leeds-Chelsea on the Wednesday night, and then you get Leeds-Liverpool. You're thinking, is that right? I've got to go to Leeds, Chelsea and Leeds, Liverpool.
Where you're universally popular.
I'll just get my hood up and my helmet on.
There's no hiding place in that game.
I didn't know what to expect last night in the game. I maybe thought it might be a little bit sort of edgy, a little bit scruffy, but it wasn't. It was a really good game to watch. I enjoyed it. And look, Saturday is going to be interesting. Can Leeds go again? They'll be confident. They'll be really sort of have good belief, but physically can they go again at that sort of frantic pace that they set at times in that game last night? And obviously Liverpool, what's happening to Liverpool is a mystery from where we saw last season. So yeah, you're absolutely right, some sort of great games upon us, and yeah, I enjoyed last night's game as a spectacle. I thought it was really surprising watching Leeds play how they did and hurt Chelsea as much as they did, and it'll give them, like I say, a feeling that we can get out, we can stay in this league. Sorry, not get out of this league, we can stay in this league and we can push up the table.
Yeah. So what about Chelsea? Because all of us just thinking maybe they're the closest to Arsenal, and they drew with Arsenal at the weekend and so on. They were right in the mix, and then that happens. Is that something you were waiting to happen?
Yeah, I've never bought into this Chelsea going to challenge for the title. I mean, getting close and maybe getting up to third or second, maybe, because there's a lot of inconsistency around near the top of the league. There's only Arsenal performing at a level that you would say is anything like at the moment. I think you go to Leeds United, and look, Leeds haven't been great recently, but there has to be a little bit of understanding of what you may face. I didn't think there was any of that from Chelsea. I think the coach made changes. He played a team of a very young team. They've got young players anyway, but it was Chalobah at right back was awkward in terms of on the ball first half. They had a mountain of passes, 1 million passes in the back three that was driving me crazy. And you start off passing slowly, and we'll come on to United in a little bit. Don't start a game bloody slowly. You're playing for a top goal. Get the game moving. Get the ball moving quickly. Get your tempo in your passing. Get your touch right. And the drift is walking on the ball. There's so many passes back the way. And when you start like that and a team are on top of you and Leeds are playing forward, you're playing right into their hands. What do Leeds United want? They want the back three or back two of Chelsea with the right back Chalobah, tucking in, playing as a three in possession. They want them to play across the back slowly. That's the easiest thing in the world for the opposition team. So don't do that. Feed the ball quickly into positions further forward where you've got your more talented players. But I have to say, Chelsea just to me last night didn't approach the game correctly. They didn't have the actual beef out on the pitch to be able to handle Leeds' muscle. Simple as that. They were out-muscled, out-fought, everything in the outrun. And you thought that when Chelsea got back into the game, they could sort of come, and you thought, well, this could be interesting. But they got caught by a pass back from it was Gusto to Chalobah, was it, I think, and then it goes back to the goalkeeper, and it's a mess. And let's stop talking about Chelsea being a title-winning team. Let's stop talking about it. It's not there. They haven't got the goalkeeper for it. They haven't got the centre-backs for it, and they haven't got the centre-forwards for it. But they'll finish in the top four. I think they've got a lot of very good players. They've spent a fortune on that squad. They've got some real talent in there, but they're miles away from being a title-winning team. And I know what a Chelsea title-winning team looks like, and the Chelsea fans know what a title-winning team looks like. They've won plenty of them. They've seen the physicality and the durability that you need to go and win a league. It's not all about playing football. You have that physical aspect, particularly when I think you get into these months of December, January, February, where there are big demands upon players. People might say, it gets cold. It gets colder. Games come thick and fast. You look at your Christmas calendar, the players are playing these games. I've got about 12 games that I've got over Christmas, and the lads are obviously having to go every 3 or 4 days, and you've got to really play a more robust game at this period of the year. Yeah, the pitches are immaculate and they're fantastic, but you've still got to demand that sort of physicality from your team. And I just think Chelsea, they're way off it in terms of certain areas of the pitch. Their spine's not good enough. They've got some excellent players, they've got some real talent. There's a lot to work with, but they're nowhere near a title-winning team. And I know they keep teasing us and tickling us every few weeks when they win a couple of games. It's, Chelsea up there nearly 7 points from Arsenal. What if they win this game? And we keep saying it, and they're nowhere near.
Well, a similar sort of narrative, a couple of places further down the league for Manchester United, who tease and tempt, and who twice in the last fortnight have had a chance to go into the top 5 and haven't. And sort of the prevailing mood here, I sense, is
Mikel Arteta has made it clear that Arsenal will need to unleash their complete player against Bayern Munich. The Gunners host the German champions at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday, and one man in particular could be decisive. Ebereki Eze, described as a very complete player by teammate Mikel Merino, is emerging as one of Arsenal's most dangerous weapons ahead of their Champions League clash with Bayern. The 27-year-old announced himself in North London with a stunning hat-trick in his first derby since arriving in a £67.5 million move from Crystal Palace. His 3 brilliant goals dismantled Tottenham, and truthfully, he could have scored even more. Marino believes every one of Arsenal's 8 summer signings has lifted the squad's level, helping the team build a 6-point lead at the top of the Premier League. But Wednesday's matchup is different. Bayern Munich, the reigning Bundesliga champions, represent the toughest test yet for Arteta's side. Speaking after the win over Spurs, Marino praised Eze's qualities and hinted at the impact he could have in such a high-stakes European battle. "We've brought in a lot of players who can make a difference. But you can see that other teams have spent big as well," the Spain international said. "Individual brilliance can win matches, sure, but in the end, it's the team that matters. If you have great players who don't connect, that's a problem. The good thing about this group is that everyone thinks about the team first." When asked about Eze specifically, Marino didn't hesitate. "I think he's incredibly complete. He can dribble, he can pass, and his technical quality is outstanding. In Spain, we always talk about players who can connect with others. He has that naturally. He grew up with that instinct to link play, move the ball, and build relationships on the pitch. He also has the mindset to get involved, demand the ball, and influence the game. At the same time, he's strong, he can take players on, and he can finish. He's a truly complete signing." Marino also touched on how the modern game often reduces players to simple numbers. "These days everyone judges players by goals and assists, that's just how it is. But as footballers, we see the deeper qualities he brings, the technique, the movement, the intelligence. Even in training, you can tell immediately how special he is. Yes, he's scoring goals, but he's much more than that. He's an exceptional player, and we're incredibly lucky to have him. He can play in several positions and adapt to different systems. He's been a huge addition for Arsenal." Beyond the technical qualities, Marino believes Eze's attitude, and the healthy competition within the squad, will be crucial in Arsenal's title push. You can hear the calm in Ebereki's voice and see it in the way he carries himself. He's confident, grounded, and every morning we sit together in the sauna at the training ground and talk about everything, he added with a smile. "He's a great guy, already fully integrated, and we need players like him. Competition is fierce. There's so much quality in this squad. That's exactly what the manager wanted, as many top players as possible, all ready to play. It makes his decisions tough, choosing who starts and who doesn't, but it also pushes every one of us to give our best in every session. And that's why we're improving as a team." As Arsenal prepare for Bayern's arrival, Arteta is facing one of the most delicate balancing acts of the season. The squad is healthy, competition is fierce, and expectations have never been higher. But behind the scenes, there is a growing sense that Eze's versatility and calm presence may be essential against a Bayern side known for controlling the tempo in big European nights. Arteta himself has hinted at Eze's importance without naming him directly. After the Tottenham victory, the manager spoke about the need for players who can break pressure, dictate rhythm, and stay composed when the game becomes chaotic. Those inside the club believe those comments were aimed at Eze as much as anyone. The coaching staff has been particularly impressed by how quickly he has adapted to Arsenal's positional play structure, a system that demands far more tactical discipline than what he was used to at Crystal Palace. Analysts at the club point to his growing influence not only in the final third, but also in build-up phases, where his ability to glide past pressure could help Arsenal bypass Bayern's aggressive midfield line. There is also an awareness that Bayern's fullbacks tend to push high, leaving spaces between the lines. Iza's skill set, sharp turns, deceptive acceleration, and precise final balls, could be exactly what Arteta needs to exploit those gaps. Outside the club, pundits have already started circling Wednesday's match as a defining moment for the £67.5 million signing. Some believe that if Iza can impose himself on a Champions League quarter-final against Bayern Munich, it will confirm his arrival among Europe's elite creative players. Former players have echoed that sentiment. Several ex-Arsenal figures, speaking on television over the weekend, highlighted the need for someone who can change the temperature of the match with a moment of calm or an unexpected burst of creativity. Iza, they argued, is one of the few in the squad capable of both. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich come into the match with their own confidence. Their midfield trio has been one of the most dominant in Europe this season, and they have shown a repeated ability to suffocate opponents early. That dynamic is precisely why Arteta may lean on Iza's composure. When the game tightens, Arsenal will need a player capable of slowing it down, protecting the ball, and finding solutions in tight spaces. Within Arsenal's dressing room, Mourinho's praise reflects a broader consensus. Senior players have reportedly been struck by Iza's humility and work ethic, qualities that have helped him integrate seamlessly into a squad that already had strong internal chemistry. Staff members describe him as someone who never forces the game, and lets the match come to him, characteristics that could prove invaluable in a high-tension Champions League tie. As kickoff approaches, the narrative surrounding the match has shifted. What began as a test of Arsenal's resilience has quietly become a spotlight on whether Iza can elevate them in Europe the same way he has in the Premier League. For Arteta, the equation is simple. If Arsenal are to overcome Bayern, they will need more than intensity. They will need control. They will need creativity. And increasingly, they will need the completeness Iza brings to every phase of the pitch. Whether he starts in a wide role as a floating midfielder, or even as an interior playmaker, the expectation is the same. Iza will have to find the spaces others cannot, and influence the game in ways that statistics alone will not capture. The stakes are high, the opponent is formidable, and the spotlight is intense. But within the walls of London Coney, the belief is growing that this is exactly the kind of stage Eberechi Iza was signed for. Martin Odegaard is nearing a return to action after suffering a medial collateral ligament injury in Arsenal's 2-0 win over West Ham earlier in October. Yet, 3.5 years after Mikel Arteta named him captain, the Norwegian finds himself in an unfamiliar position. His place in the starting lineup is no longer guaranteed. For the first time since joining the club permanently from Real Madrid in August 2021, there is real debate over whether he remains an automatic choice for Arteta's 11. Odegaard, now 26, has been central to Arsenal's resurgence under Arteta, the conductor who shaped the team's rhythm through some of their most fluid football. But this season, the Gunners have been forced to navigate long stretches without their captain, first due to a shoulder issue that kept him out of 4 matches in September, and then because of a knee collision with West Ham's Crescencio Somerville that sidelined him again. And during his absence, something significant happened. Eberechi Iza stepped into the spotlight. Iza's sensational hat-trick in the North London Derby has complicated the picture. Now thriving in a central role, the England international has given Arsenal a different kind of presence around the edge of the box. A blend of unpredictability, directness, and two-footed confidence that opponents struggle to contain. He may not control games with the same metronomic precision as Odegaard, but he offers a spark, a willingness to take risks at moments when Arsenal need a jolt of creativity. After such a standout performance against Tottenham, it feels almost impossible to imagine Arteta leaving Iza out. The manager has always had a soft spot for players riding a wave of confidence, and Iza is currently surfing at full height. There was a similar situation back in September, when Mikel Merino was handed a start against Manchester City after scoring 4 times in 2 games for Spain, including a hat-trick against Turkey. Arteta doesn't hesitate to reward form. Iza has carried that form onto the international stage as well, recently scoring a stunning goal for England in a 2-0 win over Serbia in the World Cup qualifiers at Wembley. Though he can play on the left, it has always been clear that Arteta brought him to the Emirates to operate in midfield. And with Declan Rice and Martin Zubamendi near untouchable in the double pivot, the odds of Iza and Odegaard consistently starting together seem slim. That leaves Odegaard in an unfamiliar position. He needs minutes to rebuild sharpness, yet Arsenal's medical team won't rush him. The plan is likely to ease him back through short substitute appearances before restoring him to larger roles. But even once fully fit, Odegaard faces genuine competition, because ease has shifted the landscape. His arrival has raised the team's ceiling, and his performances have earned him the right to keep his place. Before the dismantling of Tottenham, Ease had scored only twice for Arsenal, one against Port Vale in the Carabao Cup and another versus his former club Crystal Palace, a clever finish that sealed victory. Now, with 5 goals across all competitions, he sits just one behind Odegaard's total from last season, when the captain made 45 appearances. Odegaard's 2023-24 numbers were outstanding: 11 goals, 12 assists, influence written across every competition. That is the standard he must match again if he wants to reclaim his spot, because Ease is hungry, confident, and eager to impress ahead of next summer's World Cup. Arteta will insist that Arsenal need both players at their best if they are to meet their ambitions in the months ahead. And with Kai Havertz also working his way back to full fitness, potentially slotting into midfield behind marquee striker Victor Gyökeres, the battle for places has never been fiercer at the Emirates. For Odegaard, the message is clear: he must rise to the challenge. His leadership and quality remain unquestioned, but he can no longer rely on reputation alone. If he embraces the competition and fights his way back into the side, his return could push Arsenal to even greater heights. And if the team has already reached this level without several key figures, the potential for what comes next may be even greater. Inside the club, staff members are quietly acknowledging that Arsenal are entering a new phase, one where no player, not even the captain, is immune to tactical evolution. Arteta has spent the past 2 seasons building a squad capable of sustaining pressure across multiple competitions, and the emergence of Ease is a sign that the manager's long-term planning is beginning to bear fruit. Depth is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. But with depth comes difficult decisions. Arteta has always valued balance in midfield, and the contrasting profiles of Odegaard and Ease force him to reconsider what type of midfield best suits the team's ambitions in Europe and the Premier League. The technical control and spatial awareness that Odegaard brings have defined Arsenal's identity under Arteta. Conversely, Ease's dynamism, physical presence, and unpredictable touches give Arsenal a new dimension, especially against teams that sit deep or defend aggressively in central areas. This internal shift has also caught the attention of analysts and former players. Several pundits have begun to question whether the captaincy should guarantee a place in the lineup, especially at a club with ambitions of challenging for the Champions League. Others argue that Odegaard's leadership is too valuable to sideline, pointing to the standards he sets in training and his influence over younger players. Those debates are already spilling into the media, and they will only intensify as the season progresses. There is also the tactical question of whether Arteta might eventually experiment with a system that accommodates both Ease and Odegaard, something he briefly attempted earlier in the season during the win over West Ham. But with Rice and Zubimendi forming an almost impenetrable midfield pairing, any reshuffle risks destabilizing the defensive structure that has made Arsenal one of the most resilient teams in the league. The manager has hinted that he is open to adjustments, but only if they enhance the team's overall cohesion. For Odegaard himself, the challenge is as much psychological as it is physical. He has worked hard to cultivate an image of calm authority, a leader who raises the level of those around him through clarity and consistency. Now he must show that he can adapt, compete, and respond to adversity. His teammates still speak of him with admiration, describing him as one of the most studious and detail-oriented players at London Coney. They believe that once he regains full rhythm, he will naturally reassert his influence. Yet even they acknowledge that the landscape has shifted. One senior player privately remarked that, "The team is different now, Ease has changed what we can do in the final third." That sentiment reflects not a lack of faith in Odegaard, but an understanding that Arsenal have evolved while he has been sidelined. For Arteta, the ideal scenario is straightforward: a fully fit Odegaard competing with a fully confident Ease, creating a level of internal competition that lifts the entire squad. The manager often speaks about the need for healthy tension among his players, pressure that keeps standards high without fracturing unity. The arrival of Victor Gyökeres, combined with the recovery of Havertz, only amplifies that dynamic. Arsenal's season will almost certainly hinge on these midfield decisions. With Champions League knockout matches approaching and the Premier League title race tightening, Arteta must decide not only who starts, but what kind of identity he wants his team to carry into the defining months of the campaign. The next few weeks will reveal whether Odegaard's return sparks a resurgence or a battle for relevance. If he manages to reclaim his place, It could serve as a reminder of why Arteta trusted him with the armband in the first place. If he struggles, it will underline how rapidly Arsenal are progressing, and how little room there is for sentiment at the highest level. Either way, the captain's response will shape not just his future, but the trajectory of a team that believes it is on the brink of something significant.